Welcome to Let's Get Spiritual. I'm your host, Annie, and I'm here with my bestie, Ashley, and we'd love for you to join us as we discuss all aspects of spirituality and wellness. So sit back, take a breath, and let's get spiritual. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Get Spiritual.
Hi, guys.
It's Annie, and we have Ashley here.
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited
good.
to get into our topics today.
I know, me too.
We're kind of building on the basics that we started, right?
Yeah. So if anyone who's like just tuning in now, I recommend kind of listening to us in order because a lot of this stuff is going to make more sense to you if you listen as we're going in order.
Yeah, we're kind of building off of the basics.
Yeah. So building off of the last basics where everything is energy, we're going to talk about how everything that's energy vibrates.
Talking about vibes today?
Vibrations.
All right. Not those kinds of vibrations, the spiritual kind.
There's still happy vibrations. There's still the happy vibrations. So the definition of it is just anything that moves back and forth, wiggles, or oscillates.
Okay.
So literally everything that has energy to it is vibrating at some level. Even the subatomic level is where even the most solid structures are vibrating.
I feel like this is stuff we learned in school.
Yeah, like even how like buildings, when a strong wind hits it, it still vibrates and moves a little. So anything that even appears to be really structurally sound still has a vibration to it.
That's including our bodies.
Yes. And that's the vibes we're going to kind of focus on. But I'm going to use some tangible objects to show us a little bit about this. So I have a little clown bopper here. He's going to be our little demonstration buddy. And I wanted to use this as an example. So for those who are not viewing us on YouTube and listening to us.
Which you should be, by the way. Go follow and subscribe. Come on, people.
Do it. I have a little bopper clown buddy, or even a bobblehead is a good thing to imagine. So all of these things have like a state of equilibrium, which means that they have all forces applied to them are equal right now.
They're just chilling.
Yeah. So anything like this that has a force applied to it, it's going to get pushed off that equilibrium and bounce back and forth a little bit. And it's kind of depending on the force. It can be a very strong force and really knock it over, or it could be a very light force and kind of do a little bit of damage to it, but it still bops around and eventually comes back to that state of equilibrium.
That's the goal.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to use that visual as something that we should apply to our lives every day is how do we get back to that state of equilibrium where the forces that keep coming at us we can't control that.
Correct. But we can control ourselves and how quickly we can get back into balance.
Yeah. Like even that strong building is still going to move a little bit with that wind on it, but it's still strong enough that the wind's not going to knock it over and keep it from crumbling.
Is the plan.
Yeah. Definitely. So that process of the bopper and the bobblehead going back and forth and kind of eventually slowly getting their way back to that equilibrium state, it's called dampening. It's when gravity kind of takes over and it gets us there anyway. So even if we have unresolved issues through dampening and through the course of life, it all just kind of
evens out.
Kind of, but it doesn't fully.
It's like balancing with a rock in your shoe.
Yeah.
If you don't take care of
like
some of the
ultimately in life, if you avoid something or don't deal with it, it does sort of kind of go away, but it's always still gonna be rocking a little bit.
Always going to be there.
And that because you're not letting go of it completely or working through it to that state of equilibrium, it's going to continuously have that force applied to it. So that when something else comes on top of that and on top of that,
just keeps piling.
Yeah. And you're not ever going to feel like in a place of equilibrium. I think of it as like spiraling. You're literally still spiraling. Yeah. That clown can't come back to that resting
I
position.
think everybody has felt that. I can't
Life
imagine anyone listening has not felt that.
Yeah, it's almost, I always feel like, especially like if you're knocked down, like things just keep knocking you down. Yeah. And that's part of sometimes what happens in life, but making sure that you're sturdy enough and grounded enough that when these hits come to you, you're not falling over. You
want to make sure your base is solid, and that's kind of where spirituality comes into play.
Yeah, absolutely. And grounding is one of the biggest aspects of spirituality where it helps us through these moments. And like spirituality isn't being all like positive through these moments. It's actually working through them and dealing through them. So I'm not saying like get to your equilibrium by just being like, okay, everything's wrong.
Fine.
Whoa,
everything is fine. Like, have you ever seen that meme where the room is on fire and the dog is sipping? You've seen it because I've sent it to you a billion
we've
times
used that a lot
in my own life. But yeah, you don't want to be that dog. It's not fine if the room is on fire.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
No, and that's not okay. And then what happens is like a sustained input of energy is like keeps that like momentum going, and that fire just keeps building and you just keep ignoring it. But at some point it doesn't.
You're going to catch on fire too.
Yeah, it'll catch up. So back to like the science stuff, like Newton's law of inertia talks about like an object that's moving will continue to move in that motion if the forces around it are continuously balanced in that way to keep that force going. So a good example of that is a pendulum. The pendulums are used in clocks. They're used in watches. I use them in my practice because there's usually always a force of gravity applied to it, and it helps keep time and it helps read energy.
I was going to say it really helps read the energies because you've done some crystal therapy on me at the Hidden Gem on Southside Bethlehem in the Venture X building. And it's amazing to me just watching it and like seeing how the pendulum reacts to different energies in different parts of my body and chakras.
So what happens and what moves that pendulum is the fact that there's always energy emitting from these areas in our body. So we'll get into it a little bit further in another episode, but chakras are these energy vortices that like reside within our body.
They're like our power points.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like where our energetic body and our physical body interact with our environment. And that's like the porthole that exists within there. So it's always emitting some kind of energy, and sometimes it's not. And I've seen times where it's completely blocked, but the pendulum, and I have one here to kind of have a visual for those who know.
Again, follow us on YouTube so you can see all of our visuals.
So I have this pendulum. It's like a little pyramid point at the bottom, and it hangs through a chain with a ball at the top. And I never ever touch the chain. I only hold the ball. So when working with chakras, sorry. I heard that as I was saying it.
Sorry, that was me.
Anyway, it's okay. Now that our minds are out of the gutter, back to this. And the energy that we emit through our bodies actually moves the pendulum, which is a really cool experiment. I would do it now, but sometimes it takes a little while to really calm the energies and allow it to move. If there's too much happening around in the room, the energy is going to get pulled from that, and it may not give an accurate reading.
Work.
Yeah, so that's why we get all nice and relaxed before I do that. But
very true.
That's a really good example of how our energy is moving something.
Yeah.
And it's vibrating, like it's emitting a vibration that's making the pendulum swing. So when I see
an effect on it,
when I see someone's pendulum when I'm doing the reading and it's kind of like stuck or kind of trying to go in a perfect motion, but I see some struggle there, that tells me that there's a block in the energetic system, or that something is kind of keeping that energy from flowing freely. And that actually comes down to like physical aspects and within our body. Like that can tell us more about some of the traumas that we haven't really fully dealt with.
Right.
And these things come up in our energy fields, which is really
wild.
Cool. All through vibrations.
Yeah, and it has an effect on the things around you and just you in general.
Yeah. So along with like pendulums and even tuning forks are a form of like a vibrational tool. When you hit the fork, the vibration is dispersed and that's sound. So all vibrations in our existence can be turned, like sound vibrations can be turned into color, different color resonances with different sounds. And same, like we can scan outer space. Have you ever seen those where they turn like a scan of outer space into like sound harmonics?
Yeah, I've seen that before.
That's just all levels of measurement of vibration.
I was going to say, isn't even the planet vibrating as well?
Yeah. So it gets measured by frequency, and the frequency measurement is hertz, which we'll go into a little bit more too with different frequencies like that. But when it comes to the frequency of it, there's also resonance and dissonance. And resonance, when it comes to frequency and vibration, means that something that's resonating with that same vibration, and dissonance is the opposite, where something isn't resonating. So
resonance is when you like are vibing with someone and it feels good.
Yeah, and like that vibe is high, time doesn't even exist, hours go by. Yeah.
And then dissonance is when you come up against those energy vampires we talked about before.
Yes, and you're just like standing there like, no.
Like this.
I'm not vibing with this. Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, so it's important for us to recognize that in our life, like the energy givers, the energy takers, and also the high vibes and the low vibes. They're all like almost the same, but they're not. Yeah, so if you relate to something being high energy, it's also going to be high vibrational.
Right.
And same with low energy, it's going to be low vibrational. So they're almost the same, but one's more like the measurement of the other.
Right.
Okay. And same with like the frequencies. So there are frequencies and they help our bodies maintain high energy and high frequencies. And it's like the different solfeggio frequencies. I think we talk about how
we did talk about that.
How we sleep to those at night. I use them in my practice as well. They really just help our bodies maintain peace and calm.
And I will say, when I listen to that, when I go to bed, like I pass out quick.
Yeah. Dude, me too.
I'm out.
And I sleep hard, like through the night I sleep. So it's amazing. Things that are in resonance with us show it within us and externally too. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you follow us on YouTube, maybe we can put some links in the description for this episode so you can maybe test out some of the frequencies and things like that we listen to when we sleep
they're
and try
amazing.
to vibe.
Yes. So one experiment that I learned through my practice that helps explain resonance and dissonance is like, imagine two people are like two different stones and they're both placed the same distance above a pond.
Okay.
And they're both dropped at the same time and they have the same ripple. And as their ripples get closer to each other, because they're at the same ripple, they make bigger waves with each other.
Together.
Yeah. Like they're great alone, but when they come together, they can make bigger waves, bigger ripples, and it just has a bigger impact. Now, the dissonance experiment on that is where they're just on two different levels. So one stone is at this level, and then this other stone's higher at this level. When you drop them, because their timing is off and they're in dissonance, the ripples in the pond then kind of break apart and don't really
it's just sloppy.
Yeah, it doesn't have resonance to it. So it's really crazy to think about even like these things on science terms, how they apply to us in like normal life. We recognize and realize that there are people who, when we vibe, we're vibing. It's great. And then sometimes when we're not, it's not. And it's
not even just people, it's environments too. I can speak from the job that I just left behind. We were not vibing at the same level. It was definitely a high vibe in me and a low vibe in situation.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to realize and move from, because it sucks. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks realizing like we're on different vibes and it's not going to work.
Especially when it comes to people. And I feel like this definitely but it's stuck in my head because someone that I've read tarot for. And by the way, I do read tarot. So if anyone is ever interested, hit us up. I'd be more than happy to give you a reading. But she had mentioned about her love life. And I think that this, for whatever reason, to me, as you're explaining this, hardcore makes me think of people in just romantic relationships and how
I had to vibe out of my marriage. I did vibe out.
You're just at different levels. Yeah. And once you drop into each other's lives, it just doesn't work.
And as you become more on a spiritual path and more aware of these things, you kind of become more conscious of which relationships you have amongst family, friends, everyone that you vibe more with than you vibe less with. And you get to determine how much of yourself you extend to those relationships. And that's really the only thing you can like control out of it.
Do. We'll talk about that more when we get to our boundaries episode down the road.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a fun episode. So basically any force of energy can try to continue to like knock us down and knock us off this equilibrium. But when you find your center and your balance in any situation, you can kind of take these hits better.
Exactly.
Ultimately.
And again, getting on the basics, that's kind of where meditation comes in, because you can take that moment to recognize where you're at in the present moment and then help to kind of
you can go, holy crap, I'm sad. I'm just going to sit here and just be sad for a little while. Mm-hmm. And when you allow yourself these moments, like I know society's like, we're not allowed to have emotions, guys and girls, don't cry, suck it up. Yeah, that's not working for us, everyone. Sucking it up and not allowing yourself moments to cry or be frustrated or to feel feelings has not worked for society very well.
No, not
we
at
need
all.
to work through our emotions, deal with our emotions, learn when I'm in a low moment right now or when I'm in a high moment right now, and work with those waves.
Exactly.
Like you said it perfect one time, like feel your emotions, but don't reside there. Like go on vacation there.
Exactly.
Feel them.
You're just passing through. You're not trying to buy a plot of land. You need to keep on rolling through.
Keep your vibes so high that when the low vibes are around you or come at you, that your vibe is so strong and so solid that it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. And it's not going to always be like that. Like I'm pretty sure I've said it before in a past episode, like these are just, it sounds so easy and breezy coming out of our mouths, but it is a constant work in progress. We can both attest to that. And it's not always going to work. And it's not always going to be like, well, today was crappy, but tomorrow's going to be better. Because maybe sometimes it takes weeks or months to get better. But the point is you want to work through it.
Yeah.
You want to try to get back to that balance, even if you're spinning around like our little Bozo the Clown over there, ready to fall off your pedestal.
And sometimes you can get back on balance and you can be good for a little while. Then one trigger might just get you back off balance. But as long as you continuously, consciously try to bring yourself back, and sometimes that's taking a break. Sometimes that's journaling. Sometimes it's calling a counselor. Sometimes it's sitting with friends. Sometimes it's having an uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different avenues to get there. And that's what mindfulness meditation allows you the time to figure out what you need. Is.
Yeah. What you actually need to do to work through some of these icky, crusty vibes that we encounter in our daily lives.
For sure. I like to, grounding is like one of the, what my recommendation would be for any time that you're in your vibe and something knocks you off your vibe is maintaining grounding is important. And the earth helps us do that. Just literally going outside, putting your bare feet on the soil, in the
just
sand.
Being in nature
Yep, go for a walk.
Hug
now
a tree,
it's supposed
literally.
to be nice out. It's almost springtime. It's not today. But soon it'll start to feel it. And one of the other reasons why earth actually helps us and grounding ourselves in earth helps us is because its literal vibration resonates at like
healing vibration, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 432. That's the one I use on my bell, and that helps all of our vibrations like get back into resonance. If they're a little in dissonance, that vibration helps bring them back into resonance. That's why vibrations are so important to our energy, because they kind of keep our chaos more orderly.
Exactly.
So that's why sound healing is another way. Crystal therapy is another way. Any type of spiritual energy cleansing is really something that helps you stay grounded, maintain yourself in these.
Pretty much anything that can hit the reset button on some out of vibes energy, like anything.
Vacations are sometimes nice.
Oh, don't even. I need one so bad.
Yeah. I can't wait now that it's getting sunny out. Just being at the beach, having that ocean there, that's also cleansing. So the earth is grounding. The ocean is very cleansing. So if you ever need a good cleanse like that, a dive in the ocean is amazing.
And if you can't make it to the beach, doing a salt bath is just as
for
helpful.
Sure.
Get some lavender Epsom salt, throw it up in that tub. You'll be vibing and chilling.
Well, and halotherapy is another form of energy therapy that's I'm seeing is becoming more popular. There's the salt rooms, the salt caves, where they have like sand and it's pink Himalayan salt. And you kind of just like hang out in there with like friends. I got a massage in there recently. It was amazing.
Oh.
So being in a room with pink Himalayan salt is actually like being at the beach for a few days. It helps clear your lungs out. It just helps you feel renewed, refreshed.
Yes.
Yes.
You got the buttons to work.
I know. It's great. Watch out.
We're in trouble. It's really just that one we'll ever need.
But that's so many different ways to help raise our vibrations and keep our vibrations high and keep ourselves grounded.
Exactly.
So it's important for you to just kind of take the mindfulness route and figure out what it is to get you there.
Exactly. Things like dancing, listening to music, reading a good
coloring,
book.
Anything that kind of turns your mind off from the anxiety that loves to come in and ask you the what ifs. We will say this a lot throughout this podcast is you have to remain present. So if you're thinking about the past, you're holding on to regrets, those are things you can't change, and you're kind of focusing on the things that have already passed.
Exactly. Plus you just run the risk of, because again, we talked about the law of attraction. So if you're constantly worrying about stuff that you messed up in the past, you're going to be presented those situations again. And because you have done nothing but worry about the thing that you did wrong the first time, you're probably just going to keep doing that thing over and over again.
It's crazy how we actually set ourselves up for failure when we worry like that.
Pretty much.
And exactly, like when you worry about the future, you're just anxious about something that hasn't even happened.
Exactly.
Like you're paying interest on money you haven't even took out. Like you don't even know that this situation could go that way now. I'm the kind of person who overanalyzes and overthinks a lot of things, and it's hard. That's a hard battle for me personally. I try not to, or I will go through, okay, well, this is how every way that this situation can play out from like the best case scenario to worst case. Then I go, all right, I got it covered. If anything happens now in that spectrum of scenarios, I feel more prepared because I'm ready for it. I don't sit there in the anxiety of, oh my gosh, but what if it does go down that way? And oh man, if it does this.
That is a helpful tool, but also a slippery slope.
It is because
if you get stuck in one part of the good to bad, it can definitely go either way.
And that's where you go, what about that can I control and what can't I control? And it kind of brings yourself back to, all right, well, I can't control that. So I'm going to focus on the thing I can.
Exactly. I do that all the time as well because I have anxiety. So I too tend to overthink things. And when I'm in that moment, when I can catch myself, because sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
But when I can catch myself, exactly. But when I can catch myself, that is the question I ask. I'm like, can I control this?
Yeah.
No.
No.
F off. Then.
Yeah, I'm done thinking about you.
I'm not going to think about you anymore. Let me distract myself with some music, a good binge on TV. Anything that isn't thinking about this thing that I can't control.
Exactly. That's all you can do.
Yes.
It's hard
and that's
to
also
realize
where therapy and things come in too, guys. Like you can do so much work on yourself and really make progress just by yourself. But sometimes you need that extra push of somebody on the outside that'll just kind of listen and be like, okay, now did that overthinking actually do anything for you? No, let's think of some healthy coping mechanisms to not do this.
And sometimes just like realizing stuff you can't control needs someone to talk. You need to talk through that with someone.
Because sometimes you have to figure out why you have the obsession of controlling something. So.
And I had to learn about that a lot through my therapy sessions, like what I can control, what I can't control, and then how to deal with the stuff that I couldn't control.
Right.
With what I can.
Exactly. Being human is fun.
Oh, so much fun. So ultimately, we want to stay in high vibrations because the high vibrations resonates with all things of like God, light, source, energy, all those good things. And low vibrations always just kind of stay with like darkness, hell, doom, gloom. So we don't want that stuff.
We don't want the crust.
No, we do not want the crust, but we do want a tarot reading.
Hey, it's that time already? This one flew by.
Okay. I know. We had a lot of fun with this.
I know.
This is my favorite part of the show because we get to, I love talking all the geeky stuff, but once we get through that, I always love ending the show with
I get excited.
a message from spirit. So this time I am going to use my bell. We are going to take a few breaths because we need to get Ashley in the right vibe.
Yes, and we need to get you guys in the right vibe to receive the message.
Yeah, so if you're driving, don't close your eyes.
Please don't.
But if you're at home and you're chilling, close your eyes, take a few breaths, regardless if you are. Just breathe with us. We're going to take 3 counts in and 3 counts out, and let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. And another breath. Exhale. And last one. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3.
I was going to say, smack it like you mean it, girl.
Oh, yeah. Hey. You don't want to tell me that. Yay, I love when they fall out.
Well, and these aren't my cards. I thought I was going to be fancy today and just change my bags. And I forgot that I have my tarot cards in the bag that I normally have. Yeah, wow. Okay. This might actually be better with these cards, too, because they're bigger.
Nice.
So, Spirit has shot 3 cards out of the deck today.
Yeah, they flew right out.
They really did. And the first card we have is the Strength card. I always like the Strength card.
That looks like a good one.
I like it because it's bright, and usually brightness in a tarot card to me just means positive, good things. The message alone, it's one of the major arcana, so those are always pretty straightforward as to what it means. Also, I'd like to point out that this lady here, this queen goddess, is taming a lion.
Yeah, and she has this like awesome infinity symbol over her head.
So that infinity symbol does show up in other tarot cards as well. It's usually a sign of divinity. It's nice. That you're divinely protected is really how I take it.
So she is that queen energy, and she's protected.
So we have strength. We also have the Ace of Pentacles. Aces are usually the best card to get in whatever suit that you are working with. And then we have because I don't know numerals.
8.
I'm an 8 of clubs. It's okay. No one said I was a freaking genius over here. I'm just looking at cards. Ooh, by the way, we have 2 8s because the strength card is actually also
an 8
card. Of the major arcana as well. So these vibes, I mean, they're pretty high. I do feel they're slightly out of order. When I read tarot, it's almost like putting together a puzzle sometimes. Like the cards will come out the way that they come out, but sometimes I feel like it goes in a certain way. Order.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So in this particular way, I feel like it's more of this. I do feel the message is about letting things go. Ironically, I do also feel like maybe it does have to do with vibing. I feel like maybe something in your life you're just realizing it's time to move on from.
Yeah, he's got his back turned.
He's got his back turned from the cups. He's got his head down and he's about to just walk away from something. And I think that for some of you, that may be what the message is that you do need to walk away. You do need to have strength that the decision that you're making it is the right decision. It's the best decision for you. It's a divinely timed decision.
And just know that you're protected and that's how you get your strength.
Exactly. And at the end, it'll be working out.
Yay.
The Ace of Pentacles. Again, this hand coming out of a cloud speaks again of divinity to me in the universe. So really, I just feel like you're probably at a period in life where divine timing is really going to come into play. But in order for you to get to the beautiful hand in the sky offering you this giant, bit of abundance, this beautiful little garden in the background, you are going to have to let go of something to get there.
It's going to take some strength.
It's going to be hard and it might knock you off your balance, but you need to have confidence and strength in your decision. And again, it will turn out for the best.
That's amazing. I feel that really resonates with a lot of people, I'm sure. So, guys, thank you, Ashley, very much. I want you all to mind your vibe, mind the vibe in the room, mind the vibe you get from others, and keep yours high.
Yes, and hit us up too, guys. We don't really have we have the YouTube, so feel free to definitely subscribe, follow, sign up for notifications, comment, do all those things.
If you're on Spotify, you can reach out with a voice message if you have any questions, so that's fun.
And rate us 5 stars on all the things, Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, we love the love.
And you can email us.
Yep.
Let's get spiritual 1111@gmail.com.
That's right. If you have any questions or anything, hit us up.
Yes.
And thanks all for tuning in. I hope you stay spiritual.
Bye.
Bye.